definitely perfectly appropriate for a Thanksgiving table, and it's not a presentation I've seen before. Hello, thank you for stopping by. I'm so glad you're here, and welcome to another video where I waste my time and money testing out old recipes so that you don't have to. Today we are making turkey and dressing from 1839 and cranberry jelly from 1823. This is the second part of a series where I'm taking popular American Thanksgiving dishes and making early American versions of them. I want to start with the cranberry jelly today because it needs to fully set, which seems kind of interesting to me. So let's get into that, and then we will move into the turkey, which also is going to take a while to cook. For cranberry jelly, make a very strong isinglass jelly. I had to look up what the heck isinglass is, and apparently it's a type of gelatin made from fish, which sounds disgusting until I think about what actual modern gelatin is made out of. I looked around, I could find some isinglass jelly online, but I thought it seems like a lot. I'm not trying to be 100% historically accurate here. I'm just looking to these old recipes for some fun, to see if there's any inspiration I can get for modern cooking. And the most convenient product for modern jelly is regular boxed gelatin. So that's what I'm going to be using. Moving on. When cold, mix it with a double quantity of cranberry juice, pressed as directed for dressing cranberries. Okay, so this is referring us to a previous recipe, or a recipe in a different part of the book. So I had to find that. For dressing cranberries, for pies and puddings, with a good deal of sugar, stewed in a jar with the same, which way they eat well with bread and are very wholesome. Thus done, pressed and strained, the juice makes a fine drink for people in fevers. What? I think it's just telling you to boil cranberries in water with sugar. It's too early in the season for them to have fresh cranberries out. I couldn't find frozen either. So I'm using dried, which already have sugar in them. So I'm just going to mix these with some water in a pot and boil it for a while to get cranberry juice. I'm not sure if I'm going to have to add more sugar because these are already sweetened. I'll taste it. So dried, sweetened cranberries, water. Let's boil this for a while. I guess I can get started on the turkey while that is boiling. Turkey recipe. To roast a turkey, make a stuffing like that for veal, which would be in a different part of the book. Or take a teacup of sausage meat and add a like quantity of breadcrumbs with the beaten yolks of 2 eggs. Then fill the crop. So it's just saying mix some sausage, some breadcrumbs, and some eggs and shove them up in there. I guess we should start by unearthing the turkey. That's not the right word. Unboxing? Is this a turkey unboxing? So I got a Jennie-O frozen turkey. There were no fresh turkeys available. Again, I'm filming this in September. Thanksgiving's a ways off yet, but I wanted it to be filmed and done well ahead of Thanksgiving. I'm afraid there's going to be like gross turkey juice everywhere. Yeah. Blech. I have no idea what this weighed. I lost the little tag from it. The memory serves, it was like 12 pounds. All right, let's talk about stuffing. The historically accurate way is to follow the recipe and stuff the bird, cook it like that. Problems with that is that you have to cook it a lot longer to get it heated all the way through and get all the sausage meat and egg and the stuffing up to a safe temperature. So the modern recommendation is to cook the stuffing on the side. One of the problems with cooking it in the turkey also is the meat will dry out before the stuffing is done. So that's another reason to cook the stuffing on the side. So I went back and forth on what I'm going to do. I'm going to cook the bird with the stuffing like the recipe says. I'm going to double the recipe and cook some on the side to see if the stuffing tastes different cooked on the side versus in the cavity. A teacup of sausage meat and a like quantity of breadcrumbs. This is giving you a 1-to-1 breadcrumbs to sausage, which is crazy to me. I'm going to interpret a teacup as 1 cup-ish. I'm just going to use all of the sausage I have because I want to double this recipe because I want to make extra stuffing. For the breadcrumbs, I went ahead and got seasoned stuffing mix. The recipe doesn't tell you to season this at all. Part of that is because these old recipes assumed a high level of knowledge. If you were cooking, you'd probably been doing it all your life, 3 meals a day, from when you were a little girl up into a woman in your own household. So these aren't necessarily like step-by-step tutorials as much as just like, here's some ideas. So they would expect you to make it taste good using your own knowledge and what you have available. I think not being 100% exactly like the recipe says is actually kind of more historically accurate than following it exactly word for word and not doing anything they don't say. All right, now we need the beaten yolk of 2 eggs. I'm using double the recipe, so it's going to be 4 egg yolks. I'm starting to notice a trend of these old recipes always separating the egg yolks and egg whites and always beating them before using them. Honestly, I'm not expecting the most moist, delicious turkey ever, but I do have pretty high hopes that this will be relatively tasty. I don't see why it wouldn't be. Okay, time to fill. So we have the stuffing made. Let's fill the crop. Shove it down its gob. I know I don't want to pack this too tightly. Do want some airflow. This other dressing I'm going to put in a casserole dish. I think this might be big enough. I don't know. Are you big enough? Oh, yeah. Perfect. I feel like if this were a modern stuffing dressing, there would at the very least be some stock in it. A little bit extra moisture, but it would have had a lower percentage of sausage as well. Sausage has got a lot of fat. Do I bake it covered? Uncovered. I'm going to bake it covered to help it retain moisture. And I've been washing my hands like a million times already. They're starting to dry out. And it's like 10 minutes in. Okay, I think I need a bigger work surface. Get out my roasting pan that gets used once every 4 or 5 years. The cranberries are boiling away here. I think they're going to make a pretty decent juice like this. I do want to give them a taste just to see if they need some more sugar other than what they came with. Actually, no, it's good. Pleasant. A little bit tart, a little bit sweet. Good. Let's read through the rest of this recipe because it is not exactly in chronological order of what you need to do. Dredge the turkey over with flour. Lay it before the fire, taking care that this is most on the stuffed part, as that requires the greatest heat. So they knew it needed to get that stuffing done quick. They weren't stupid. A strip of paper may be put on the breastbone to prevent it scorching. Baste with a little butter or salt water at first, then with its own dripping. A little before it is taken up, dredge it again with flour, baste with butter, and froth up. A large turkey requires full 3 hours roasting, a smaller in proportion. Okay, and it does say to serve ham or tongue and stewed cranberries. Ham is still a common Thanksgiving accompaniment, and cranberries are. Tongue not so much. I'm going to melt a little bit of butter and salt together and use that to baste this, because it doesn't have you season the outside anything, didn't ask you to brine it. I don't know how much of that is something people would have just done because they knew to do it, and how much of it is just not something they would have done. I almost brined it, but I didn't have a container large enough to brine it in. I couldn't find any brining bags at the grocery store. Again, it's early in the season. All of the seasonal Thanksgiving food is not out yet. They're just not putting up Halloween stuff. Woo! I forgot about the butter in the microwave, and it is hot. Let's butter you up, turkey. And I'm making a mess. Just slapping some butter on the turkey. Oh, I forgot to dredge it in flour. Dredge in flour. Okay, I've got some flour here. I'm going to dredge the turkey. Did add salt and pepper to the flour. This is bizarre. I have never seen anyone do anything like this for turkey. Most turkeys I have eaten have usually been roasted without the stuffing in them. The dressing was always on the side. Just basted, usually cooked in one of those plastic bags with a little thing that popped out. Or I've had a couple of deep fried turkeys. And the past few we've made have been spatchcocked, and they came out really, really good, but they weren't dredged in flour or anything. So it'll be interesting to see what this does. I just figured out what's weird about this turkey. There's no legs. What a ripoff. Cheap sons of beaches. That's why it's sitting weird, because there's no legs. Tell you what, I buy a cheap frozen turkey in September, I expect the best. I'm just going to drizzle more butter over it and salt. Hope I'm not over-salting the outside of this turkey. I feel like most of this is just going to baste off anyways. The recipe does tell you to lay it by an open fire to cook it. I don't need to do that. I got an oven. Oofta. Here we go. Okay, I set a timer for 30 minutes. I'm going to baste it every 30 minutes. We're cleaned up, sanitized. The cranberries have cooked long enough. Let's bloom the gelatin. I'm going to use... What are the instructions for this gelatin? I have no idea how much to use. 4 envelopes of Knox unflavored gelatin, 1 cup of cold fruit juice, 3 cups of fruit juice heated to boiling. So 4 cups of liquid in total for 4 packets of gelatin. I'm going to use 4 packets of gelatin, the whole box, because I'm going to bloom them in 1 cup of cold water. And then this is currently at 4 cups, but I got to strain all the pulp out of it. So that'll probably bring it down to 3 cups. So I'm going to use 4 packets of gelatin in 1 cup of cold water. I'm just going to mix that up and let it bloom. Basically, hydrate. It's just going to soak up the moisture, activate a little, get ready to use. So I'm going to just set that aside for a few minutes while I run the cranberries, these boiled cranberries, through my favorite thing in the world, the ricer. 19th century recipes love running things through a ricer. Making a mess with cranberry juice. Okay, let's mill this stuff through. Kind of thick. There's a little bit of there's definitely some pectin-y, pulpy thickness to it. Though this is still very hot. And the gelatin, just that quickly, a few minutes, the gelatin bloomed. So I'm going to mix the gelatin into... How many cups of this do we have? It's a little over 3 cups, closer to 3.5, but hopefully it'll still set nicely. Let's go back and read the recipe. Make a very strong isinglass jelly. Check, I did that with the bloomed gelatin. When cold, mix it with a double quantity of cranberry juice, pressed as directed for dressing cranberries. Sweeten it and boil it up. It's already been sweetened and the juice just came off the boil. Then strain it into a shape. The sugar must be good loaf or the jelly will not be clear. And for the mold, I'm just using a modern Jello mold. Tupperware. Spraying it with cooking spray to release, so it'll release easily. The turkey has been in the oven for 2 hours now. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. It's looking really nice and crispy, and have to remember, don't touch the pan. Don't you fall. I don't want to knock this flour everywhere. Okay, look at that though. Yums. Yums. Let's check the temperature. Through sort of a thicker part of the breast. So we're at 155 right there. Let's try another area. Let's go right down here. So like 162 right there. I want to take a temperature of the stuffing though. Right down the middle. Because that's what we definitely need to get warmed all the way up. 126 down the middle of the stuffing. Wow. If I can sort of... I think maybe I'm going to try to mix up the stuffing in the middle of it. Because the turkey is almost done and the stuffing is not almost done. Which is why we now don't cook it in the middle. I do still think that in 30 minutes the stuffing will be done in the middle. So I do want to give this a final flour dredge, like the recipe says. It's already got a nice crispy, floury skin. How am I going to handle this without burning my hands? It's scalding hot turkey. I don't know. How do I do this without burning my hands? Woo! More flour all over it. This is weird. I keep using that word a lot when I'm working with these old recipes, is weird. Just doing stuff that seems odd, but also it doesn't seem that odd. This is not beyond the realm of reasonable. It's just not what we would do now. I have added an excessive amount of butter to this for the basting, and I'm not sorry, because it just wasn't producing a lot of pan juices, which might be a good thing. That might mean all the moisture is being retained. Let's try to move this one more time. That was better. Didn't burn myself. Okay, back into the oven for 30 more minutes. I blanked. Okay, back into the oven for another 30 minutes. The turkey, I really believe the turkey will be done in all the right spots in 30 minutes because it's just almost there. It's only a matter of getting that stuffing up to temp. I think the turkey is done. It looks kind of tasty. This crispy crust from the flour on the outside looks really interesting. Let's get the thermometer, make sure the meat's done. Over here, 154. All right. 3 hours in there. Let's take the temp. This area through here was where it was not coming up to temp before, other than the stuffing. Yeah. Okay, we got the stuffing to 161. I'll take it. I will take it. I'm going to put the turkey to the side for just a second, let it rest a little while. And let's try unmolding the cranberry jelly. It should come out all right. No reason it wouldn't. It's fully set. It was in there for about 3.5 hours. So let's do a flippity-doo. And then release this inner ring here. It was supposed to just come off. Oh, there we go. Haha. The thing I find the most interesting, the funniest about this, is that it is so much like the canned gelled cranberry sauce that you just shake out of the can and you're supposed to keep it in the shape or people get upset. To find out that is like the gelatinous cranberry sauce is an American tradition to at least 1823, probably further back. That cracks me up. What I want to do is scoop out the stuffing from the inside of the turkey and put that in the middle of the gelatin. I hope it doesn't melt it. And this stuffing from down inside the turkey looks super moist. All right, well, there's not a ton of it inside the turkey. There wasn't a ton of space. I didn't add the cranberry skins onto the bottom of the gelatin like I was thinking of. I just saved them, but I'm going to use them for a little bit of garnish onto this stuffing here. Maybe just around the edges of the gelatin as a little plate decoration. I think that's attractive. Definitely perfectly appropriate for a Thanksgiving table, and it's not a presentation I've seen before. A little bit more stuffing would go a long ways, but I do have some more, but I don't want to mix the baked versus the stuffed. Okay, let's get this onto the table. So I'm going to start setting the table. This needs to get onto a plate. I don't know that having this gaping hole shoved up in the air is the most aesthetically pleasing. This turkey doesn't want to sit any other way just because of the way it was cut before I got it. I'm going to put the stuffing that was baked separately from being stuffed into the turkey for serving. So I'm realizing now that it would have made a lot more sense to just leave the original stuffing in there and then put this stuffing in the cranberry sauce. That would require a greater level of foresight than I possess. But this lets me overstuff it a little bit too, so it's more full looking. Maybe put some stuffing on the plate too as a garnish. How cool is that? I've got a turkey in my hands. I'm going to try to slice into this meaty edge here. Probably should slice with my dominant hand. It looks juicy. Okay. Not bad. Then I'm going to give myself some of the oven-baked stuffing, which is stuffed inside the turkey for reasons I can't fully articulate. Now let's get the cranberry sauce, which looks like such a treat. I am really... I like the way this cranberry sauce looks. I'm going to give myself a little bit of the stuffing from in the middle of there. It has a nice wobble to it. Cheers. This turkey is incredibly moist. I'm getting white meat here, and it is just the most moist, flavorful turkey I've ever had, which really surprises me. I was really, really, really expecting this to be bone dry. The skin's not really crispy. It's very tasty, And I wonder if that flour dredge sealed the skin to keep moisture from escaping, and the stuffing in the side didn't really let moisture escape from the inner cavity either. I wonder if that's what it is. The flour dredge is just sort of a casing that's sealed in the moisture, and the stuffing sealed in the moisture, and you just get really juicy turkey. Because like I said, when I was cooking it, there wasn't a lot of drippings coming down into the pan. And I was like, well, where are all the drippings? Yeah, I don't know how well you can tell visually, just by looking at that piece, that it's a moist piece of turkey. I gotta recommend this method of cooking turkey. I'm shocked. It was really easy. But let's move on to the stuffing. Starting with the one that was cooked separately from the bird. I just put in there, it was like 20 minutes and this was up to temp. It's pretty tasty. It's a very high ratio of sausage to bread. Not my favorite. I think I would prefer more bread to sausage ratio. I definitely miss the stock that you would put over on a modern recipe. You would put a couple of cups of stock in there or broth to moisten it up. I'm definitely missing that with the oven baked one. If I had it at Thanksgiving, I wouldn't complain, but I wouldn't be raving about it either. So let's go to the stuffing that was cooked inside the turkey, and it does look a lot more moist. Cheers. It's delicious. Really delicious. I would be raving about this one. The sausage to breadcrumb ratio for the stuffing that was cooked inside the turkey feels right. I don't know why cooking it that way makes it taste different. It's not just a dryness thing. It's like delicious. There's an extra flavorfulness. I've never had dressing cooked inside the turkey before. My family always cooked it to the side, mostly because they needed a giant amount of it, and the little bit that fits inside the turkey would never serve everybody. But this is really tasty. This is from, what, 1820? What year was this from? 1839 for the turkey? It's really, like, I don't know. I'm gobsmacked, I think is the British saying. So let's try the cranberry jelly, which still cracks me up having the little wobbly jelly on the plate, using a recipe from 1823. Proving that Americans have always loved a wobbly cranberry jelly. Not gonna lie, it looks a lot like the canned stuff. Very tasty. This ended up being a slightly milder flavor than the canned stuff. That would vary depending on how many cranberries you boiled, how concentrated you got that juice. But it's delicious. Very delicious. So I genuinely give these recipes 2 thumbs up. They were very delicious. Hold up today 100%, which is kind of surprising because you always see with old recipes, people make them and there's like, oh, it's really dry or just not tasty. And I've had the opposite experience, but you do have to know to reference multiple parts of the cookbook. You have to know how to do some basic critical thinking. You have to have some basic cooking skills and apply things to the recipe that they don't explicitly state. And I really got good at that by using vintage sewing patterns, where they give you a pattern and they expect you to have a basic level of sewing knowledge already, that they don't do an in-depth step-by-step. Very same thing with old cooking, old recipes. The older you get, the less it's a step-by-step tutorial, and the more it's just a explainer for like, here's some ideas. All right, I am about to devour this, and I don't think you want to watch me sit here and eat. So if you have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps more than you can know. If you have any other Thanksgiving recipes that you would like to see a 19th century version of, please let me know. I will do my best to find one. Like I said, I'm going to be making mashed potatoes, gravy, green bean casserole next week, I think. But that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the future.